Hey, what is up? It's Oscar with ya. Man, it has been a minute since we've done this. I mean, crap has happened. My rig was jacking up on me. Found out what the issue was, and we'll talk about it in a sec. But it took some troubleshooting. End of the year, and what I mean by end of the year, end of the school year coming up. A little less than a month to go here. And man, things are getting super busy, so I apologize. And the reason I'm going to tell you guys exactly why I'm apologizing, but I'm apologizing because I haven't done my shows on time as we typically do. But I'm going to apologize for another reason here. This past weekend, the podcast was a topic of conversation in two locations. Friday evening, my brother and his wife were discussing it with my wife and myself, and the strange thing, I don't know. I'm probably going to be jumping around here, and so I'll apologize for that as well. But in the jumping around to try and get through this story, in my absence, which I think now is 2 weeks again, in my absence, it seems as if more and more people are listening to the show, catching up on the older episodes. I think a lot of them feel that they have to listen to them in order, which, come on, the only continuity here is the name, because that's everything, right? You jump on everything. But it didn't really hit me during that conversation on Friday evening, but it was a good conversation to hear because I received some good criticism on the show. So maybe I will take that to heart. Maybe I will. And use that for the future. But where it really hit me, and then of course in combination with the conversation on Friday, where it really hit me was on Saturday. Now, my school district, in order to have us better prepared for our upcoming school year, is offering each teacher on our campus, or each teacher in the district, 20 hours to be worked, quote unquote worked, on Saturdays on campus, paid, okay, to be prepared for the upcoming school year. I'm not really certain what elementary school teachers do a hell of a lot more than anybody else, and so we're talking about classroom decorations and stuff like that. I don't really do that. It's just kind of, you come in, the show that you get is my lecture and this guy, and that's it. You look around the walls, and yeah, there's things up, right? But it's more informational stuff, not like, hey, this catches my eye, and not that type of stuff. So really the work to be done would be going in, lesson planning, and again, arranging your room a certain way, but you really can't do that anyway because everything is still set up for distance in the room, 6 feet apart, plexiglass on our desks, things like that, right? So there's not really much that you can do in that regard. So it's lesson planning, right? Setting up how you're going to go about teaching the upcoming school year. They're giving us 20 hours, as I said, and so every teacher is taking advantage of this. And I got to say, it's not necessarily that they're taking advantage of the fact that they want to be ready and prepared for the following year, right? But a lot of us are veteran teachers, and we're kind of set up, and we just, we roll with the punches, and we get what we need, and we implement it when we need to implement it, and so on and so forth, right? So really, this past Saturday worked as a kind of like a catching up. Uh, every single one of us on our campus, um, with the exception of a few, and every so often I went on campus and you saw a couple of people, but for the most part, you really didn't see anybody, and you definitely haven't seen anyone in social circumstances, right, outside of work. And so the majority of the people on campus were taking advantage of seeing one another and saying hello, and still keeping fairly distant, because I think we are like at a, I would say 95% vaccinated on our campus. So everyone was still kind of keeping distant and still kept the mask on because it was a requirement. But once we were in our classrooms, and if you decided to visit someone else, you had that. It's not an awkward conversation to have if you ask me, but you have that conversation. Hey, it's cool, yeah, go ahead. And so then you remove the mask, and because everyone has an understanding, right? Anyway, Saturday was about that, about kind of catching up a little bit, talking to people, seeing how they were, seeing how they fared throughout all of this, and then doing some work in our classrooms alone, and then lunchtime because it was 8 a.m. right? I showed up on campus at 8 a.m. And it's supposed to be, this past Saturday the campus was only going to be open for 5 hours, as opposed to the next couple of Saturdays it'll be open 6, right, until 2, from 8 to 2. So right around lunchtime, a few of us got together and we went for some lunch. And at that lunch gathering, the topic of conversation, part of it, was the show. And I found out that a lot of my coworkers have access to the show, and they've listened to it. A lot of them are listening to it religiously, waiting for the next one. And it was all really, really flattering. And so I go into these, and especially when Rebecca's in here with me, and I say, yeah, my 6 listeners, right? I know it's more than 6 listeners, right? I mean, it's not in the hundreds either, but I know it's more than 6 listeners, and the truth is that the numbers have, again, in my absence, have grown. I've seen the number of downloads and listens for each of the episodes, and they have increased, and it's absolutely flattering. It is very flattering, and that, finding out that the numbers are increasing, and then finding out that a lot of my coworkers have been listening, and how they were talking about the episodes in the following fashion. Did you listen to the one about the movies? Did you listen to the one about The Lie? And of course, if you guys know, those are in the back catalog, right? And that was my buddy at work, my actual neighbor on campus. And the thing is that a couple of them had been listening, and I know in conversations away from that lunch meeting that other people have been listening. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, and I got some, like I said, some critique from some criticisms, from my brother mainly, and criticism in the positive sense, right? He wasn't all too negative, although some of the people that my wife and I selected for our music choices on the best songs episode, he wasn't so much in agreement with, and a lot of what he said I didn't agree, but he wasn't necessarily complaining about my choices, which was, of course, awesome, right? He knows what's up. But yeah, despite all that, I appreciate all my listens, all my listeners, everyone going back from the beginning, who maybe stopped, who then came back, and that would be my coworker H out there, Claudio. Thanks for listening. Johnny H, John Hernandez. And I say the last name because you know what? There's a couple of Johns, and so, John, despite the fact that it is a pretty common first name, I know two Johns, like that's it, right? And still, you got to separate them, make certain you know who's who. So that was one of the listens, and everybody else, and so I appreciate it. Being away, I guess, helped me in a way, because with everything, with the time constraints, and I've been feeling a time crunch, just in a quick little text message back and forth with my wife just a little while ago before she got home from work. She's telling me that she's feeling pressure, and her pressure and her time crunch is completely different from mine. Mine is just like, I'm fed up. Hers is, I'm fed up, but I still have to have meetings for these kids that are going to go from my school to the high school. Her transition meetings for her special ed students, right? So that's a much more pressure-filled situation compared to mine, where I just don't want to work anymore. So, and I think that's probably most of us who are in the profession. So here we are, man. It's Oscar with ya, back at it. Man, what a past couple of weeks here. Just time, and I think I'm not gonna rant, because I already did. I think the last episode was the rant. I'm not gonna rant, but this one is gonna be the complaint about my effing computer. And if you listen to the last episode, I believe it was the last episode, you listen to it, and I am distant. I think it's the last one, or it was the one before, where my shit hit the fan, right? My audio interface hit the fan. And so this episode is going to focus on that, because I had to come up with the troubleshooting. Hang on, I'm getting a little bit of dry mouth here, and one of the criticisms that I received from my brother was, sometimes it feels, this is kind of what he said, sometimes it feels as if you don't get to the point. He goes, I know why you do it. It's the build-up, and right. He gives me all these proper reasons, but then he also said that he tunes in and he wants me to get right to the point, but I never do, or I do. I'm sorry, I do, but it takes a while. And his big complaint was the beer thing. That why did I give so much information on the beer I was drinking? And I let him say it. It was fine. I enjoy beer. So what I'm doing right now is, yes, my mouth is a little dry. Obviously, I'm recording this on video as well, so I just did an Albert Einstein pick with the tongue out, right? And so a little dry. And so, Mara, this is for you. No beer today. Oh, it still sounds great though. But all American cocaine in a can, Coca-Cola to wet the whistle. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell you that this was canned in Georgia, and is full of sugars, and it probably destroys my insides worse than a beer would. I'm not going to say any of that. It is a dark caramel color. I'm not going to say that either. That it's very fizzy. and effervescent, and it burns the throat. I'm not going to give any of those details. I'm not going to tell you that it's 140 calories, and I'm not gonna say any of that. Okay, so let me just wet my whistle. But this is, as you can see right there, Coca-Cola. Actually, I'm not going to show you guys. I apologize. I'm not going to show you that it says that's a red can with white labels, with white lettering. Excuse me, that says Coca-Cola. I'm just going to take a sip. All right, just give me a sec. It's very good, but I'm not going to detail how good it is, other than the fact that it is an American Coke, which is sweetened with corn syrup, as opposed to the original formula and the Coke that you can get outside of the United States, namely Mexico, which is sweetened with cane sugar. Big difference, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. But what I am going to talk about is my audio interface, which died on me. And, well, I'm going to put it this way, and the good news is I thought it died on me. It died on me when I needed it, but there's no way in my head, there's no way it could have messed up. That was my thinking. It can't be done. There's no way it could be done. It's not like I toss this shit up against the wall or throw it at my kids when they get on my nerves, or fling it at my wife's feet when her food sucks. I take care of my stuff, and namely all of the stuff that I have for recording and that I use for my schoolwork and all that. I take care of all of my things. I mean, anally, I take care of them. Not, Christopher Walken in Pulp Fiction taking care of things anally, but I'm on top of my stuff. Like I make certain that things are clean, that it's not dusty. I double check all the things are connected properly. Again, I don't bang things around. If I lift them to clean, it's super gentle. All of that stuff. All right. I mean, this is money. I work semi hard for the stuff that I buy myself. You know what I mean? You got to take care of it. If not, you who, right? You who. My kids love that drink. I don't allow anyone to touch my gear. Sit at my desk, use my computer. No. I set up a whole other desk over here to my right. For those of you on YouTube, my old computer is now set up over here on its own desk. You guys meaning my family, need access, a more powerful computer than, say, your laptops or your Chromebooks that you've been working on for the entire year. It's right there. It is right there for everyone to use. Its own microphone, its own webcam. It's all set up. So I did that on purpose because I want to make certain that my stuff remains pristine and taken care of the way that I'm used to taking care of my stuff, right? So that one particular episode, I think it was 2 episodes ago, so episode 7, I believe, was the one that sounded like crap. And then episode 8 was the one I had to go back to my original form of recording, which was via USB microphone. And I'm not complaining about it. It's just, it doesn't sound as good as an XLR microphone. And if you guys don't know the difference, it's just the connections, okay? Although, here's the big one. A USB microphone draws power in through the USB port wherever it is you connect it on your computer, right? The XLR is literally, it's the audio cable, right? It's a wide, girthy, to get fairly sexual with it, pretty thick cable, and that's all audio, So you need to connect that into an audio interface, which is what I have, and supply it with 48 volts of power in order for it to work. Okay, that allows the separation of audio and power allows for greater clarity in the sounds that your microphone picks up. Well, audio interface goes down on me. Goes down. This little box right here, this little red box, it goes down on me, and wow, never have I felt anything like that before. And what I mean is the anger and frustration that I felt when that happened. Anger, well, you know what, that might be too strong, but the level of being upset, of how upset I was when it didn't work when I needed it, really was beyond words. It really, really pissed me off. It really upset me, because how the hell can this little box, and literally it's a box, I'm going to go about 4 inches by 2 inches by maybe 1 inch, okay? Rectangular shape, right? This little box, how is it that this could have messed up on me right now? Literally right now. The entire time it had been working fine. I use it when I teach, and through this very same microphone that I'm recording on right now, this is the same microphone that I speak to my students through. Like, what the hell happened? How come it decided today that the moment I turn on the computer, now it was going to blow up on me? Like, what the fuck, right? And it bothered me. And so that led me to troubleshoot. Connecting and disconnecting. By the way, the audio interface runs on USB power on its own, right? So it draws power from your computer as well. So moving it from port to port, making certain my ports weren't messed up, which, by the way, I have a brand new build, my brand new computer that I built. I know that the USBs are good on there. There's like 7 or 8 of them on the computer. Plus, I bought brand new USB extensions, right? Extra ports, hubs. I have a 4-port hub right here that I added. I added a 7-port hub. I have a ton of USBs. Not because I foresaw that there was going to be an issue somewhere along the way, right? What I did was I just wanted to be able to have all of these connections if and when I needed them, right? I have lights going, the possibility of using, again, another USB microphone if I needed it. Just making. I just don't want to be caught off guard, right? Or be short when I needed something. So connecting, disconnecting, checking power, all of that stuff. And it didn't work. It just would not work. And every time I wanted to come and record both audio and video, it didn't want to work. It did not want to work. Needless to say, it took me a couple of weeks, almost 3 weeks, to see what the problem was. And when I tell you what the problem was, those of you that are fairly computer literate are going to say, yeah, that sounds right. That shit happens. And those of you who really are not computer savvy are going to say, what the fuck, you're stupid. Or, oh my god, I had no idea that could happen. But it literally happened. It literally happened. I don't know if I should take a break here or just go on through with it and tell you. Because if I tell you, essentially the episode's over. And you know what? I'm going to keep it short because it's Monday and everyone's tired. And I wanted to get a show in. And I wanted to tell you that the Everything Show is back full force. And it's back full force because I found the issue with my audio interface. Now, what was it, you might ask? Plain and simple, it was interference. I got interference. What did I get interference from? I got interference from the 2 ring lights that I purchased to shine my ass up for the YouTube portion of the show. They are USB powered, and no matter what port I connected them to, they would create interference with the audio interface and screwed that whole thing up. Now, what I mean by interference wasn't like, right, like, that you can hear it. It was power related, but the power didn't come across as sound in my recordings. It was breaking up whatever connection I have from using USB on the audio interface with those lights that are also connected USB. I went and I used different USB ports, USB hubs, connecting it directly to my to a port on the computer or to one of the hubs. Regardless, it didn't work. It continued to do that. And on an occasion where I said, you know what, I'm just going to record, and I happened to not connect my lights. I just happened not to. Okay, I forgot, I think is what it was. I forgot to reconnect those lights. I like having everything connected because I can just reach over. There's a remote, pick the light that I want. We're good to go. I happened not to reconnect them. Suddenly everything worked. And I go, well, it was like that light bulb, right? It was like, well, fuck me. Those fucking lights caused interference that shut down my microphone, my audio interface. Let me tell you the relief I felt, though, right? Because truth be told, I didn't want to spend on an audio interface. There's other things that I want for my setup. And it's not that. That's one of the most least expensive things that are out there. But still, I don't want the added expense. Whatever I would have had to reinvest, I wanted it for something new, right? Not on another audio interface when the one that I had should have worked. Which it did, obviously, right? But the relief was I figured it out, and even if it was by chance, really, I figured it out. But we are back, and there will be another episode this week. Got to get it back in there. And that episode's I'm going to discuss that little lunch outing that I mentioned to you earlier. And I'm also going to talk about another lunch outing that is coming up for this coming Saturday, because they are the first occasions on which I've been out in the world since the world turned to shit. So we're going to talk about that on the next episode. Episode 10. Dang, they're going by, huh? Anyway, let me tell you, the Everything Show's back. Audio interface is good. I'm not even using the ring lights because I installed, LEDs up in the ceiling here in the garage, in the workshop, so we're good to go here. Stay tuned for episode 10 later on in the week. Guys, I appreciate you coming out. Yes, the Everything Show is back. Yes, the audio interface is good. And we're going to rock it come the end of the week. All right? This is Oscar with you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Episode 9 is in the can. Episode 10, stay tuned. End of the week, we'll be back. Hopefully get my wife involved. And I know it's Monday, but hey, we're going to stop. All right, guys? Get some rest. I'll talk to you guys later. Everything Show. Thanks for listening, man. Take it easy.